If there was just one smart home product that you should invest in, it would be a smart thermostat. Hi everybody, it's Andy Barrar, aka Handy Andy, your DIY tech guy. And today we're doing a review for Best Buy's blog on the Sinopé Smart Thermostat. Now, smart thermostats have been around for a while. You know, you got your Google Nest, you got your Echobees. However, those work with central heating, meaning you got one central thermostat that controls the heat for the entire house. But that doesn't work for electric baseboard heaters, and that's what Sinopé does. Now, in terms of the install, if you're not used to working with electrical wires, then I would highly recommend you get an electrician to install this. If you're into DIY and you know your way around a breaker panel, you could totally do this. Now, I mentioned breaker panel. That's the first step. You have to go to your breaker panel, find that thermostat that you're going to be replacing, and make sure it's off. And you got to make sure it's off. You do not want to be working with live wires. In fact, when I was installing this in my house, I couldn't find the right breaker. I was going through I swear to God, it was like a 20 amp breaker for baseboard heaters, and I just could not find it. So I ended up hitting the main breaker, turning the power off for the entire house. And then I knew I was good to go. After that, I just had to remove the old thermostat. And then basically you're going to find two wires. That's it. And you just have to take the two wires from the new thermostat, the Sinopé, and then use the electrical connectors, tie those back together, put everything into the wall. The actual physical installation will probably take you like 5 minutes once you find that breaker panel. The breaker off on your breaker panel, I should say. Now, the interesting stuff happens once you get into the NeviWeb app, because that's where the setup happens to your Wi-Fi network. And if you listen to any review I've been talking about lately, I'm having all these installation issues because I have a mesh system that has a single SSID. And the same thing happened over here because this wants to connect to the 2.4 gigahertz frequency band. And the mesh system that I have has 2.4 and 5 together as one. So I had to disable it in my router settings so that I could get the 2.4. Once that was done, the setup to the NeviWeb was super easy. Inside there, it was really interesting because in the beginning of the app, it asks you what your energy rate is, like what you pay for a kilowatt or whatever. I didn't have that at the time that I put it in, but it can then give you an estimate of your power consumption, how much money you're spending on each thermostat. So if you could imagine having these all over your house, you get a really good idea on how much electricity you're using. Of course, you can set a schedule inside the app, but it's also connected to voice. So whether it's Google Assistant or Amazon Alexa, you can hook that up and turn the thermostat on with your voice. Turn it on and off and stuff. I installed this in my home gym. And typically what I would have to do was warm it up before I come in. But with this and the NeviWeb app, I can set a schedule so that it actually pre-warms in the morning before I start working out. And then I can have it turn off at a certain time. So I'm not trying to heat the place when I'm not using it, but it's still warm when I need it to be. And so I really was impressed with the NeviWeb app. I was just really confused why they call it NeviWeb. Why didn't they call it Sinopé app? You know, it just... When I was setting it up for Google Assistant, that's where I think consumers are going to find like trouble. If you're not super tech savvy, you're going to be like, why can't I find the Sinopé app? It's because it's called NeviWeb. Not sure why, but that's just the case. Another interesting feature that the NeviWeb app has is called Geofencing. And this is a beta feature, meaning that they haven't really figured it out. But basically you can set, and it uses Google Maps, you can set where you live and then create a radius around there. So you can say, after I've left 5 kilometers from my house, turn the thermostat off or turn the heat down. Or you can set it the other way. So once it detects I'm within 5 kilometers of my house, I want to turn the thermostat back on so that it warms the house or whatever room that you're looking for. Now, as great as that feature is, there was one issue, is that it only works with one device. So if you live in a household with multiple people, you're going to find some problems because it won't really work. So imagine if they could just allow multiple devices on there so that once everybody physically leaves, and you could program this in the app, that would be really cool. Everybody leaves, now the thermostat's all turned off. But then once somebody's coming into that radius, then it turns on. We just need a little bit more flexibility, but again, it is in beta, so hopefully they will add that in because that would be a killer feature for a smart thermostat. Now, another thing is Sinopé is a Canadian company, and I would have liked to see them work with the Canadian energy carriers. For example, I'm in British Columbia, BC Hydro. Imagine BC Hydro, you could sync your account to your thermostat so that, you know, because the way that the energy usage works is that you pay a certain amount up to, you know, this amount, and then it switches to a little bit more after. So you can't really track your energy consumptions without having that data. And if they could just sync it up with the different energy carriers, which should be possible, you know, it wouldn't be that hard, I would imagine. But if they could do that, that would just be a killer feature because you could see in real time how much energy your baseboard heaters are costing you. And I think that would be an absolutely killer feature. But all in all, you know, the setup was easy. The features on it were great about setting the schedules. The app was very intuitive. I really don't have much else bad to say about it. No, it was one of those things that when you install it and start using it, you're going to be like, how did I not have this? Because you're going to be saving money. It's really an investment when you think about it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this review of the Sinopé Smart Thermostat. If you like this or you have any comments, questions, leave them below. If you like this video, smash that like button. And of course, subscribe to this channel. Once again, it's Andy Barrar, aka Handy Andy, signing off. See you again next time. Bye for now.